This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Jakaya asks a follow-up question. She asks, is there anything we can do to boost getting more embryos in a cycle?
If I knew that, I would probably be a billionaire within the next 3 months. To date, there is no therapies that have suggested, have indicated any real hope in terms of the human improving either egg quality or egg numbers. Basic lifestyle stuff, does come into play. Obesity, smoking, alcohol. Get rid of those, and improve on those, and you probably do improve your chances. But beyond that, there are many claims about many medications. NMN, a stimulator of one of the enzymes that's important for energy production in the ovary, has been oversold based upon current evidence, but it is being used a lot. Does it make a difference? Evidence still zero. In rats, it does improve egg quality and egg numbers. So maybe it's finding the right drug, the right compound that is absorbed in the human and in sufficient quantities to make a difference. But at the moment, it's the evidence is not there. So answer, no.
Prof, we have a question from Tessa Lee live. She says, what advice would you give couples who are emotionally exhausted after multiple IVF attempts?
Well, number one, I'd suggest to them that make sure they've been seeing the right person in the right clinic that has provided the right support through that time frame. Getting a second opinion is always useful. Sometimes, and I get a lot of those, obviously, because of my experience. And just going through everything that's happened before, how things have evolved in each cycle. And there are some extra things. For instance, we look at eggs in more detail before we inseminate them. We can do that using polarized light microscopy, and it gives us a feel for why things perhaps haven't happened. So, I think number one is to make sure that before you move forward or before you give up, you get a good second opinion from a specialist who is trained in the area. There is a qualification in our College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists called the CREI, the Board Certification in Reproductive Endocrinology and Infertility. There are about 90 of us around Australia. We have 3 years of extra training and have a depth of knowledge that the average gynecologist doesn't have. Find one of those. Yeah, I suppose that's where I would go. And in terms of support, all clinics have counsellors. Some are better than others in terms of that longer term support. But failing is a devastating event. And I spend probably a third of my life picking people up after they come back to me and say, I've had a transfer and it hasn't worked. Why not? What can you do about it? Talking it through, creating the correct expectations, because much of the disappointment is because individuals believe they are going to get pregnant, and because they believe they're going to get pregnant, when it fails, it is a falling off a cliff event. So picking people up after that, you need a doctor who understands.
One of the questions we have submitted here, Prof, is what separates a technically good IVF clinic from a truly excellent one? But I just was thinking maybe, what you just described is what makes a clinic great is also the support you offer. Yeah.
I mean, the one of the problems we have in the world of IVF, and it's why I, with a group of 4 other doctors, broke away from the big corporates, is because they were turning into sausage factories where patients coming in and going out, lining up, and not really being cared for as individuals with personalised care. And that comes down to staffing your clinic with excellent and appropriate numbers of nursing staff and counsellors, and a scientific base which is very, very sound. I mean, for life, our pregnancy rates in our first 18 months are well above the national averages. So we're very confident we can provide that sort of a service. Clinics won't necessarily be totally honest about their success rates. They have to be. There is the IVF Success webpage where you can go and look. However, they're 2 years out of date. The numbers for the 2022 year that are currently being published. So they're not necessarily representing what's going on now. But more importantly is this support of knowing that if you've got a problem, like, you can actually call somebody and get an answer, and people will, our staff, for instance, are dedicated to making sure our patients are looked after. And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website, www.theivfjourney.com, and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.